At 90 years old, famed sci-fi and fantasy author Ray Bradbury was recognized as this year's Champion of Literacy at the second annual Walt Whitman Birthplace Association's Benefit for Literacy Gala, held here at Oheka Castle in Huntington on Thursday, October 7th. The gala is meant to honor those who go above and beyond promoting literacy in the community.
At the Walt Whitman Birthplace, our concept of literacy goes way beyond just being literate and being able to read. It involves contributing to the body of literature, supporting, teaching, and introducing people to a world where literacy is held in high regard.
Tom Weissmuller, the board's vice president, says Bradbury is a perfect example.
What makes him a champion of literacy is that he goes beyond what is considered creating literature. He teaches, he gets people excited about reading. One of the neat quotes he has, and I'm going to mention it in there too, he says, "There are greater crimes than burning books. One of them is not reading them."
That's a reference to Bradbury's famous novel Fahrenheit 451 about a future where reading is outlawed and all books are burned by the government. Weissmuller says Bradbury himself was inspired by Long Island poet Walt Whitman.
He enjoyed reading Whitman's poems and even wrote a book called I Sing the Body Electric, which was named after one of Whitman's poems. And he involved Whitman's love for literacy in his own writing. So he saw Whitman as inspiration.
Bradbury, who lives in California, was unable to make the trip to accept the award in person, but Congressman Steve Israel, a Bradbury fan himself, accepted the award on his behalf. Bradbury did make an acceptance speech by videotape.
Thank you for this honor. I think you all know I remember being born, and from a very young age I began to write, and I wrote many stories dealing with a total remembrance of my life. And along the way, Walt Whitman told me how to sing the body electric, and I put that into my stories. And along the way, I even titled one of my books, I Sing the Body Electric. So you see, Walt Whitman has been part of my life. So this honor you give me is deeply appreciated by me, and I have tears in my eyes of joy because of you. I thank you. God bless you.
In the author's honor, Israel read a passage from Fahrenheit 451. He says he's been a big fan of Bradbury since he was young.
This is special because I grew up on Ray Bradbury, a voracious reader of Bradbury, not only as a kid, but as an adult. I just reread Fahrenheit 451 because it teaches us so many important lessons. So to have the opportunity to be asked to receive an award on behalf of Ray Bradbury for the Walt Whitman Association is just an incredible honor. When I was growing up, I grew up in Levittown. The Levittown School District at one point in their history burned books. And so I grew up in that culture. And Ray Bradbury really had a resonance with me. Fahrenheit 451 about the burning of books. And I grew up during the space program, the Apollo program, and had Grumman engineers living in my neighborhood, but I could also open up a Ray Bradbury book and read about the future and rockets to Mars and establishing cultures on other planets. So it was just such a wonderful way to kind of tie together what was going on in America at the time with a vision of the future that wasn't always perfect. The thing I really loved about Bradbury is his fantasies weren't just, we live happily ever after in the centuries to come. Same challenges, same tensions, same issues, which tells us that we never can quit working on trying to improve ourselves.
Also honored at the dinner was State Assemblyman Steve Engelbright, who received the Education and Cultural Arts Advocate Award.
Thank you all for what you do for the Walt Whitman Birthplace Association and for literacy and for the sense of optimism that you bring to all who have the privilege of visiting the birthplace of America's poet.
And Tracy Edwards, Vice President of the New York operations at Verizon Communications, was also honored with the Individual Leader Award.
I've spent many hours over the past few months reading about Walt Whitman and his work and the man himself. And I found it really, truly to be very intriguing. And his stances on immigration and anti-slavery. And the more I read about him, the better I thought about him and all of the work and all of the people that surrounded him. He was very thoughtful. Education and literacy specifically are so connected to personal and community economic development. Increased self and family esteem, and also better health, both financial health, mental health, and physical health.
And Walt himself even made an appearance thanks to Walt Whitman impersonator Darrell Blaine Ford. He says the 19th century poet would be proud of the work being done by the association.
They do wonderful work at the Whitman Center. I am often in the presence of and impersonate Whitman for teenagers and even younger school children sometimes. And they have people come in who work with the children, who write the most wonderful poetry, the most self-revealing poetry, people that had never ever thought of examining themselves, thinking of themselves as potentially creative human beings. And they just write the most wonderful self-revealing things. I'm often brought to tears by reading some of the things children write.
In Huntington, Collora reporting.